Okay, so yesterday I received some information about why my daughter doesn't want to talk to me. She's mad at me. Imagine that. She wants to cut all contact with me because she's angry. Wow. You know, I had plans of coming on all upset and defending myself, and honestly, what the fuck is the point? I mean, seriously. I'm just at that point of nothing I would do even fucking matters, really. I could defend myself. I could bitch. I could complain. I could do a lot, but none of it matters. I mean, I could complain about how child services dropped the ball. Yeah, they they really did that because there's so many failings. What's the point? I mean, seriously. I honestly feel that somebody has really pushed my daughter to pull away from me, and I don't like to use the term poisoned her against me, but that's literally what I feel. I'm bad, I'm evil. I'm somebody who is dangerous to her. No, I'm not. I'll be blunt. Who I used to be was dangerous to some people, not her. I've done a lot of shit in my life that I regret. I used to say, I have no regrets. I haven't done anything that I regret. But that in itself is a complete fucking lie because I have way more fucking regrets than I could ever name off. All of them occurred while I was living the life of my dead name. And you know what? Fuck it, I'll throw my dead name out there. James. While I was living life as James, I was a fuck up. I didn't care about anyone. I didn't do what was best for anyone else. I lied. I put myself in front of other people. And there are people I lied to strictly because I had to come to terms with it. I've had BPD all this time, and it was easier to lie to people and get rid of them before they got rid of me because they would abandon me eventually. So, yeah, I'd lie to people to get rid of them. I mean, they find they find out you lied to them. That's the quickest way for someone to decide to walk away. But James died. He's gone. He's been dead since 2017. And I tell people truthfully, he never existed. Yeah, actually, he did. He made me someone I really didn't like, I wasn't proud of. I made decisions because, well, I thought that I needed to. Um, I I wasn't a good person. Would I be a good parent as who I was? Pretending to be? Really? Because that's what I was doing. No, I wouldn't. And I'd be blind. Right now, I'm in the middle of a split. And that split is somewhere between anger and depression. I miss the person I used to be 2 years ago. I mean, I was happy. Um, I could make it through a day without crying. That's a rare commodity these days. I mean, before I started this stream, I broke down every goddamn smile. Most of them are fake. I mean, that's that's where I am. I mean, over 2 years ago, I couldn't imagine being this upset all the time. Do I blame my child for that? No, I don't. Who I do blame is child services because they pushed me to do therapy because of my previous suicide attempts, which I had one about a year ago. Still have the scars on my wrist. She got mad at me because I shared a picture of her and I shared the suicide note from that night. I mean, honestly, I was really in a fucked up state of mind that night. I mean, I was mad at myself come morning because, well, let's just say actually, it was when the medicine kicked in, I realized exactly what I would have done to my wife and son. They would have walked downstairs and found me in my chair, pale and dead. And then I thought to myself, well, I can't do that to them. And I think the biggest thing from that night was I wasn't being heard. Nobody in child services, in the court, my own goddamn fucking lawyer didn't even listen to me. So I got tired of not being heard. I got tired of suffering. And day in, day out, suffering hasn't stopped. It really hasn't. I just think I've gotten a little stronger at making through it. I mean, seriously, it's just, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's all it is. I've gotten better at getting through it. And, oh, there we go. But the truth is that it's not I've gotten better at getting through it, I've gotten stronger. Even though some days I don't know where this ends. I mean, it doesn't matter how much I love someone. It doesn't matter how much I love my daughter. It doesn't matter to her. I had this situation pop up where I thought that I really had a chance to actually make a positive impact on my daughter's life. I thought that I was going to be able to get up in the morning, wake my daughter up, wake my son up, get them both on the road to getting on their way to school. And I'd be able to show my daughter a life that she hadn't known yet. I never got that chance. And I never will. Because it seems like there's too many people who are fighting and arguing with the situation. And in my opinion, putting shit in her head. For me ever to make it in. For me ever to get a point across to her. I just feel like nothing I do is going to matter. I mean, I'll be honest. There was a point which I hated my dad. Couldn't stand him. Didn't really want shit to do with him. But that was because of what my mother told me about my dad. She was wrong. Upon talking to my dad, I realized exactly how fucked up my mom was, even when he met her. More like how fucked up my mother was. But as it stands, I mean, My mother had two dogs when her and my dad got together. She waited 3 days before telling him she needed to go check on her dogs. One of them was dead. Right there, it clicked. My mother was the same person she was back then that she was throughout my life. She didn't really care. And I have fought my entire life not to be her. Including keeping my distance from my own daughter because I was afraid. I was afraid that the same type of monster that my mother was the same kind of monster that was in here. It wasn't until years later that I realized I was never going to hurt my daughter. She was safe that whole time. But by the time that I realized that, I had no way of getting a hold of her. None. I mean, I could sit here and talk about all the shit that I went through in my head trying to rationalize that she was better where she was because she was being taken care of. I didn't realize she wasn't. And that's my mistake. She says that I've never fought for her in her entire life. That asshole ever makes it out of prison. Guarantee you. She'll know fighting because he'll get out of prison and I'll go into prison. I'll just leave it at that. And I hate this guy. And hate is a word that I don't use lightly. I tell my son, don't hate someone. You have to know somebody to hate them. But I hate this guy because to me, he murdered my daughter. She's still alive and breathing. But that sweet little girl I held in my arms, he murdered her. And now she's living a life where I'm sure a lot of people are saying all sorts of shit about me. And she just sits back and laughs about it. In life, I'll be blunt. Emotionally compromised people, they become compliant. I know it firsthand because I grew up emotionally compromised. And I grew up way too fast. I was cooking my own dinners. I was home by myself most days during the week. Alone. Just me. I mean, shit, high school. My days were literally just me sitting at the house by myself or with the girl I was dating at the time. Well, engaged to. And if I wasn't at home, I was at her house. Me and her had a lot in common. She knew the pain I was going through, and I knew the pain she was going through. Because we were both experiencing the same fucking thing. It was just a different family member. She was my escape, and I was hers. But the thing is, my mother was able to brainwash my ass into believing things that nobody should ever brainwash their child to believe. To believe things that were happening that were not okay were completely okay. For a lot of years, I blamed my mother, or not my mother, but my ex, for a lot of the things I do. It was just easier that way because I was mad. But my ex, Amber, I'll be blunt, I still love her. I do. Now, whether I want to believe her record of events, her recollection of what happened, I don't know if I want to believe that. I'd like to. But a lot of people, when they're in a tough situation, they don't want to be the bad guy. And then you get someone like me who is being made out to be the bad guy, who isn't. I did nothing wrong. All I ever did was try to defend my child and keep her safe. And I thought keeping her out of my presence was keeping her safe. And I was very wrong. I'll live the rest of my life knowing that when my daughter needed me the most, I wasn't there. When she was being hurt, I wasn't there to save her. I wasn't there to protect her. And yeah, I've had people tell me, well, you didn't know. When I couldn't find out any information, I know enough about abuse that I should have known. Something isn't right here. But it was down another bottle of whiskey and pretend everything is okay. Take some more painkillers, pretend everything's perfectly fine. Not perfectly fine yet? Pop a few more pills. You'll feel better. I hit a lot of shit from people that they thought they were close to me. I hid my alcoholism from a lot of people. I got good at working drunk, and nobody knew. They just thought I was having a day where I was being a little bit more funny than normal. I was cracking more jokes and making people laugh. But that's something that I was really good at one point, making people laugh. I can still do it, but it takes energy to do it now. During this whole custody battle, I lost my grip with sobriety one night. I started with one beer that was in my fridge, and before I knew it, I was almost up to 12. I had a 24 pack sitting in the fridge that had been there for so long because I would grab a beer here and there and then just stop grabbing beers. So there was a good portion of a 24 pack left. And that night, my wife couldn't believe how many beers I put down in a short period of time. I was damn near shotgunning beers. And all she had to do was, "Is the beer making everything better?" As she walked out the front door. Yeah, she was upset with me. When the door shut, I looked down at the beer and I walked over to the fridge and the sink and I poured it out. I grabbed the rest of the 24 pack in the fridge, opened every can and poured them out. Because it was easier that night to drink than to deal with everything. See, I'm going to reveal a little something about the whole relationship with my daughter. She's got a problem with me. She doesn't tell me. She tells other people and expects them to tell me. I'm sorry, but if you want to tell me something, tell me yourself. I'm not going to start a fight over it. I'm not going to scream at you. I'm not going to blow up. I mean, I just don't do that shit. I mean, with this video, it's not anger, it's disappointment. Because at one point, the way I was treated by my daughter the first time I saw her, when she had become a teenager, I thought, man, this little girl really loves me. I can't let her down. I didn't give up on her. Still haven't. But she has given up on me. She has thrown in the towel and given up. What's the biggest fear of anybody who has BPD? Being abandoned. That's why I'd lie to people to get them to leave on my terms, the way I wanted them to. It's different when we're abandoned and not ready for it. Especially when we haven't done anything to be abandoned for. The only thing I ever done is loved that little girl from the day she was born. And in a way, I feel like I'm being punished for it. The day my daughter was born, I held her in my arms and I looked her in the face. I ran my finger down her nose and I was like, "You have an adorable little nose, little girl, and I have waited a very long time for you." Because the gestation period, while my ex was pregnant with her, it felt like years. I was so excited for her to come into this world. I had plans, I had dreams for her that never came to fruition. I spend a lot of my time trying to convince myself that I'm dumb. I'm not. I'm smart, but I've gotten it in my head up here that I'm stupid. I've made mistakes. I've fucked up. I've done a lot of things to make people angry at me, and justifiably so. But my daughter would get angry with me for posting a picture of her on my Facebook, mentioning her legal name. I mean, I'm not sure what she's afraid of. I mean, if she's afraid of somebody searching and finding out about everything that went on, she doesn't have to worry about it. Juveniles in court are listed under codes, not names. And unless you know the code, you're not going to find anything. And usually it's only law enforcement that can tap into those records by code. So if someone's telling her that just anyone can look up her history and find shit out, they can't. And if somebody is doing that, they are lying and snow jobbing the shit out of my daughter. Using her fears against her. I have only ever been proud of my daughter. I have never, even now, when she can't stand me and doesn't want anything to do with me, still proud of that kid. She's sweet, she's intelligent, talented, creative as all hell. Shut up, Furball. But it seems like she didn't want it to hear any of that anytime I ever said it. Sorry. Had to go kitty sniping with the squirt bottle. But it's like I can't say anything about her without making her mad. And it's like, I'm sorry, but you're my child. I'm gonna talk about you. For the longest time, I respected you and didn't post pictures, didn't put your name on my Facebook. And truthfully, I was oblivious as to why. I mean, I've gone even to the she's ashamed of me stage. I was a disappointment. I wasn't what she wanted. I act crazy sometimes, but there's a reason. Child services created this crazy. The wounds from my abuse were gone. I had done healing that was completely obliterated now because they made me go to therapy. They made me go see a therapist, and yeah, let's just say every session tore me to pieces. But I guess you're not doing good in therapy unless you're walking out of there after crying. I still can hear my daughter's laugh, and it just makes me want to cry. I mean, I have a photo album in my phone dedicated just to her. I have another one dedicated to my baby sister who passed away. And since, say, about a year ago, feels like they're both in the same place. I feel like I am mourning my child because the child who asked me if she was coming home with me, and I had to figure out a very quick and very creative way of letting her down without saying no. She's gone. And she was so hell bent on coming to Minnesota. I mean, I was going to take pictures of the building that's her, would have been her school, and send them to her. I sent her pictures of the snow. I tried to keep conversations going, and they just dropped off. And I know, I know there's a reason. And I feel like she just doesn't have the guts enough to tell me. And my last trip to California, I heard my daughter call another woman mama. She called her caregiver mama. I'd make a big deal of it because I didn't want to make waves. I did bring it up to my child services worker, which child services is a fucking joke. God, I can't even fucking talk. They bought my trust. My worker got me talking, and I think it was just to gather information about me. And I know goddamn well he played me against my ex and my ex against me. So and the way things were before me and her started talking for brief time we did, I'm pretty sure she probably said a lot of horrible shit about me. Problem is she didn't know me at that point. She didn't know the real me. She knew the me I kept throwing around and pretending to be. The guy that as long as I got as much pussy as I could, I was great. Now, what the fuck is sex for? I mean, I'll be honest. Sex doesn't mean shit to me anymore. To me, it's useless. But before I transitioned, you best believe that I didn't want to go home on a Friday night alone. James was a piece of shit. And I don't think he would have been any use to my daughter at all. When James no longer existed, I don't feel like the world missed much. Seriously, because I really don't. I don't think he mattered at all. Because I'll be blunt, he was fake. He was a facade, a mask. He made choices that were reckless and stupid. I mean, before I left California, I ended up in what they call the PUF unit because psychiatric inpatient unit. Because one of my friends who was a California Highway Patrol caught me sitting in a driving thunderstorm with the 9mm pressed into my neck. He stood there for more than 30 minutes trying to talk the gun out of my hand. My daughter at that time was too young to even know I even existed. But I wrote a suicide note that I kept in my pocket to remind me that maybe one day she'd need me. I found out that, well, she did need me, and I wasn't there. I failed. Maybe that's the most ironic part of it all. I was trying to protect her from me, which there was nothing that about me that was a threat. I just didn't know it. But the real threat was already in her life. And yeah, say the least, that's one of my regrets. Will she ever listen to that? I don't know. In a way, I leave these videos so if the day ever comes along that she really wants to find me and say my heart gives out like my mother's did, which is a possibility, she'll have something to look at. My only hope is that the videos will start getting better so that she can remember somebody who wasn't a complete fucking basket case. Because that's the way I look at myself right now. Child services created this monster in my life, and now I have to cage that piece of shit all by myself because the county I live in, lots of fucking luck on getting psychiatric services. You damn near have to get yourself admitted for psychiatric to be able to see anyone. Local hospital where my primary care physician is, yeah, that's a joke. They moved all their psychiatry out of town. Problem is, I don't have a driver's license. I also don't have a car that is able to drive on the highway. It'll do city speed. It's got bad shift solenoids in it, and I just haven't changed them. I own a 1999 Mitsubishi Eclipse. I also own a 1990 Celica, which has been sitting in storage for like 8 years. And I don't have a driver's license. After I moved out of Williston, I ended up owning a 99 Chevy Silverado pickup. Loved the hell out of that truck. But unfortunately, it died because of body cancer. Got shipped off to the salvage yard. That truck was awesome for quite a few years. I thought to myself, if it ever rotted out, I was going to buy the parts, body parts, and replacement parts to fix what had rusted. But there are some people in the Midwest who do something that is really screwed up to do. They put expanding foam into the places that have rusted. They sand it down, paint bed liner over it. It looks great until the rust progresses far enough that it compromises the structural integrity of the truck. And then, well, that truck ends up in the junkyard. I would have loved to have kept that truck for more years than I had it. But it led me to getting my Mitsubishi Eclipse, which I love that car. And like I said, I don't even have a license to drive, which blew my ex Amber away because she couldn't believe that I didn't have a license. And I'm like, yeah, I haven't had a license for a couple of years now. And why is that? Because I was one that always had my license. I've had my license since I was 16. And you know, I miss driving, but it's not something I'm racing off to get. It's just not a priority in my life right now to go get a driver's license. I have an ID. That's all I need. But I honestly feel that everything with this whole custody situation hinged mostly on child services because they made up their mind the first time I went out there. I almost feel like right after I left, they probably told my daughter, get used to where you're at because your mom, it's not going to happen. And the reason was one, I had started using THC to battle the shit with my back. I popped dirty on a drug test for THC. I'm allergic to marijuana, but the vape pens I can use. But on my way to California, I got stranded in a town in Washington. And this old guy decided that he was going to help me. If he ever sees this video, which I really don't know if he will, and I don't care, whatever you put in the freaking mixed nuts, shame on you. And the people in Chico you had following me, shame on you on that one too. I was still scared when I got to Oroville. And I was still drugged. I honestly think it was some sort of freaking kidnapping scheme because the guy made it a point to tell me that his wife passed away. Yeah, well, the only thing that was in the food that I was given by this guy was a can of mixed nuts that ended up being in a peanut can. Yeah, that should have been a dead giveaway. I have been roofied once, and that's what that felt like. I honestly think he gave me food laced with roofie, hoping that I'd be out of my fucking mind by the time I made it to or Chico, and his friends could pick me up and bring me back. Being half drugged still when I met with my daughter the first time, and scared, my heart didn't stop thumping until I got off the bus in Oroville from Chico. I voiced that inadvertently to the caregiver and my daughter, not meaning to. Like I said, I was still under the effects of whatever the fuck he put in those the trail mix nuts or whatever the fuck they were. When I realized what was going on, I took that can and threw it in the trash. Because there was something in the bottom of the can that I didn't know what it was. Truthfully, I should have probably have handed it off to a cop. But I was drugged, so I didn't think about it. So, in a way, I think it was some elaborate trafficking scheme to take me back up there to his ass. If it was, didn't work. And if it was, they would have had a hell of a fight because I wasn't going to end up going willingly. But I think between that and some bullshit that somebody had told me pertaining to that and berating me over that, they made me feel so fucking horrible that I attempted to commit suicide that night. I walked to a bridge, planned to jump. I had just seen my daughter not even 10 minutes before I walked out of that motel room and made for that bridge. I still don't know what pulled me back, really. But I know I'm still here, which means my fight wasn't over. Now, who knows? Maybe one day she'll get curious enough, realize that whatever the fuck it is that people tell her about me, maybe she'll realize eventually it's all bullshit and she needs to find out for herself. Because I was the most real with my daughter than I've ever been with anyone. I didn't want there to be any lies told to her. I didn't want that. So I played it straight with her. I mean, I haven't told her that her grandmother, my mother, is a piece of shit. Her grandfather, however, is the sweetest and kindest man I know. And, well, by the time she comes around, I don't know if my dad will still be around to see her. When he found out I lost my parental rights, he was like, well, I guess I lose out. I don't get to ever meet my granddaughter. Hopefully, he'll be able to meet my son before the day he leaves this earth. Life is fleeting and it's short. You don't get do-overs. It's not a video game where you can just hit restart. I've had to learn that hard lesson myself because of all this shit. Because I made huge fucking mistakes that I can't go back and fix. I wish I could. I mean, I didn't know where the hell she was. So the campfire that went through Paradise, California, I didn't know if she was up there. When the dam was breaking and shit because of so much rain and they had to release so much water out of Oroville Dam. Yeah. I didn't know if my daughter was safe then either. There were concerns on my mind, but I didn't know. And I was worried. There's no way I could find out anything about her. I had exhausted every angle I could trying to get information. Nobody had any. Nobody offered to help. Everyone I knew in California, nobody knew shit. I'd ask questions. I even would ask people who knew my ex-wife if they knew anything about my daughter. Nobody ever had any information. I used to have the scanner, police scanner app on my phone. And I used to turn it on and listen for my ex's name. Because if I heard my ex's name and I heard juvenile, I knew something happened to my kid. And I would have found a way back. But that never happened. I found out there were multiple reports to child services that were never brought to my attention. Even though I called child services, child support, child services, social services multiple times, they had my number. They knew how to get a hold of me. They never brought those claims to my attention. Those reports were never voiced to me. And one very disturbing one, when my daughter was 7, if I would have been notified, if I would have been told, you can guarantee I would have been on the phone with child services, on the phone with a lawyer, on the phone with the courts, pushing to get my kid. Nobody told me shit. Nobody told me a fucking thing. They all kind of pushed it off, and they excused all of them. All of these reports, they excused them, didn't even investigate. And I'm the bad guy. Everyone makes me out to be the bad guy. I made mistakes and I will own up to those mistakes. But I am not the bad guy. I fucked up. I made mistakes. I have regrets. But had child services done their job and informed me about things, because I had no other way to find out about said things, I can guarantee you, things would have been very, very different. Had I learned about that shit, there's an individual who would not have made it to prison. In fact, he would have just straight disappeared. Literally. I should have been notified. I should have been told. Nobody said anything. My ex told me she couldn't say anything because she'd get hurt. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I can't judge. I never met this guy except for when I went to California and attended court. He tried to intimidate me. It didn't work. He looked at me, leered towards me, and good morning. I looked at him, sweetest voice I could come up with, and was like, good morning. Even though I wanted to reach down his throat and rip his fucking heart out. I was still cordial, and I was sweet. As I've been told by some people, kill them with kindness, not with your fists. Kind of wish I could have. I will say this much. Child services system is extremely flawed because they never informed me of anything. They got a hold of me finally and asked me if, quote unquote, the words said to me, would you like a chance to have custody of your daughter? My response was, hell yeah. It wasn't, well, what happened? It wasn't, what's going on. It wasn't, I want more details. It was, hell yeah. Unequivocally, hell yeah. That's not in the record. Nothing that I did that was good is in the record. What's on record is I'm the bad guy. What's on the record is I'm the fuck up. Even though I didn't do a fucking thing wrong. I had a suicide attempt that they knew about. I popped for THC and had an issue on my way to California. That's all they knew, and I think they did the drug test trying to find out what drug was in my system from the dude in Washington. Problem. GHB or roofies, it's out of your system quickly. And if they get one molecule, one, slightly misaligned in the mix, good luck finding it. You could test for GHB all you want. They change one chemical, just slightly altered. They would have never found what the dude basically poisoned me with on a drug test. So I think they kind of made up their minds about me at that point and decided that I was no good. I wasn't worth having my child. But here's the thing. I teach my son lessons daily about different things. Cars, video games, RC cars, whatever. I've even taught him life lessons. So he doesn't have to learn them the hard way like I did. I learned my life lessons with my fists. I grew up fighting because that's what I had. I grew up angry. There were people that knew the old me in Orville and were afraid of me. One guy I was friends with, one of his workers goes, "That guy right there, he's angry at someone on that phone. I'd hate to be them." He looked at him and goes, "Why?" "I've seen that guy fight. Whoever he's mad at on that phone, he's gonna fucking kick their ass." That's how I grew up, fighting, beating fucking ass as often as I needed to. It was a rough life. I mean, I was jumped one time and hit in the face with a baseball bat. And one of my eyebrows is still fucked up because it fractured my eyebrow. I didn't go down like a little bitch. I kept fighting. Even though I had like 3 or 4 guys on me and one fucking striking me in the head with a baseball bat. I'm only still here because I kept fighting and I had a friend intervene. And I think that, thank the gods that he was there to save me that day. He didn't even realize it was me. So basically, that's the same thing I want to do for my daughter. Teach her life lessons without her having to learn them the hard way, like I did. Same way I teach my son. My son knows, don't go looking for a fight. But if it finds you, let them hit you first. And then just open up. Some kids around here surprise the shit out of me because they're like, "Oh, if I had a machete, I'd take care of him." What? My son's just like, because he can't believe it. I've heard kids here say, "Well, if I had a gun." Seriously? That just makes you sound like a psycho. If you really want to handle it, use these. Because any idiot can pull a trigger. Shrugging off a punch to the jaw, that's a little different. I told my wife about the first fight I was ever in. It was in a bar in Yuba City, California. First real world bar fight type situation. I was afraid of that first punch. I was afraid of the pain. Once I got past that first punch, I was fine. I mixed it up. I realized that punch didn't hurt that bad. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. At the time, I wore a cowboy hat, boots, buckle, the whole works. My words were, I looked at my friend Tim and I go, "Motherfucker, it's time to cowboy up. I'm going to clear this bar." He laughed. There were people who left the bar and was standing in the parking lot when I was done. He goes, "I'll never laugh about that shit again." I'm like, dude, that's the first fist fight I've ever been in. And I turned it into a brawl. His first words are, "Dude, your nose is bleeding." Oh, shit. I was like, I didn't even notice. Like I said, that first punch wasn't as bad as I thought. I don't want my kids to have to put up with that. Sure as hell don't want my kids growing up with addiction, because I have addictions that I have gotten away from. Popping pills, drinking alcohol, smoking cigarettes. I don't want them getting addicted to anything. I really don't. Because my ex told me my daughter has a severe aversion to cigarettes and alcohol. That can change. Because it did with me. And I'll be blunt. There's still nicotine, but it's lower dose than what I was getting per cigarette. Per puff, basically. I have a pack of cigarettes sitting over by the door, but I don't smoke. I might have one every once in a while, especially if I get stressed the fuck out over things with my child. But I'm not a smoker. Not anymore. I mean, a lot of my addictive behavior, I have given up on. I've quit. And it's because I wanted change for my kids. My daughter asked me to quit smoking, asked me to promise to quit smoking. I did. I had other people ask me to quit smoking. People I have. Shit, there was someone I was in love with that asked me to quit smoking. I told her to go fly a kite. I was like, I'll probably keep smoking until the day I die. I'll probably die with a cigarette in my hand. So my daughter accomplished quite a few things that nobody else ever got me to do. I mean, when my ex was pregnant, I quit smoking. I went about 2 weeks without a cigarette, and then I started smoking. Why? My ex didn't stop. Why should I keep being a non-smoker if I was doing it to protect my child and my ex was still smoking? There was no point. After my daughter was born, I'd go outside, smoke a cigarette, which I had to go outside at where I lived anyway. People I stayed with, they didn't want smoking in the house. It's all about respect. So I went outside and smoked. But after my daughter was born, I'd go out, smoke, come in, take my sweatshirt off. I would go wash my hands and my face before I would handle my daughter. I followed what the doctors told me to a T, because I wasn't going to expose my child to nicotine. I was smoking. She hadn't made that choice. So I tried to do everything right. I did. I had plans. I had ideas for the future for her. And none of them happened. Nothing I wanted to happen when she was born happened. Nothing went as I planned. Some is on me, some is on my mother, some is on my ex. But nothing went to plan. I wanted to be there for my daughter's first day of school. I was there for my son's, but not my daughter's. I wanted to be there to see every birthday. I bought her a present last year for her birthday. Never got a thank you. Never got a comment, nothing. I kept checking with the child services worker because they wouldn't give me the address where my daughter was living. Even though before we sent it, I realized I had the address. But I followed the rules and sent it through child services. I bought her something she had told me she wanted. It was a stuffed, sleeping Flaren animal from Pokemon. I mean, every time we got a check, I'd usually buy myself something. I'm like, shit, I can sacrifice what I get this month. That's fine. I don't mind. It's for my daughter. Took me a minute to ship it because I had to wait to get more money to ship it to California. But I kept checking after we sent it, asking if it'd come in. Finally, I got it came in. I gave it to her. I didn't get a thank you. I didn't get a comment. I didn't hear anything. And that hurt because that stuffed animal is something she said she wanted months in advance. I thought about it and realized I know exactly what to get her for her birthday, something she wants. I checked with her caregiver to make sure that she didn't already have it. And she didn't. But I can almost bet you that with the fact that I didn't get a thank you, a comment, or anything, a go to hell, I can almost bet you she took it back to Walmart and got a gift card. Because truthfully, I don't think it mattered. Because at that point, I'm almost certain I didn't matter anymore. She had, this is my opinion, she had her new mama. She didn't need me anymore. And I'm someone who's easy to abandon for people. Really am. I mean, it's been 8 years for me and my wife that we've been together. And every year I'm like, wow, somebody who hasn't actually abandoned me. And kind of still surprising. But I know she loves me. And I love her. I love this family that we have. And yeah, bringing my daughter into this house would have put us in a financial crunch and been in a difficult position. But guess what? Her and I both said we'll figure it the fuck out. She's worth it. We'll figure it out. It's just, I feel like my daughter doesn't even care about how much she means to me. And it hurts. I tried to do everything right. And it felt like everyone decided that I was the wrong person. And I think a lot of people were trying to put shit in their head about who James was. I'm not James. As I said, James is dead. He's been dead for years. I'm here. I exist. And my heart is something real. James's? Fuck. All he worried about was getting laid. That was it. I mean, it's lucky I even have a daughter. Because I'm intersex. By the time I started my hormones, I was sterile. And it's because of being intersex that I'm sterile, not because of my hormones. And so technically, my daughter's my miracle. She'll never know that unless she sees these videos at some point. That's another reason why she's so special to me, is because I can't have another kid. Even if I hadn't started hormones, I can't have another one. If I hadn't transitioned, I was already shooting blanks because of being intersex. And yeah, it didn't bother me. I started my hormones and I got asked if I wanted to save any of my special sauce in case I wanted a child later. I looked at the nurse and said, "It's no good. It's not going to get anyone pregnant. It's already dead." So, not that I want to try to replace my daughter because she's not replaceable, which is kind of the point to all this. I lost so much and so much that's irreplaceable that I just don't know what to say. I mean, you can love someone and if they don't love you back, for somebody in my situation, in my emotional state, more like my my disorder kind of makes you wonder what the fuck you're even doing it for. What, Penny? Kitty. But I'm reminded that she's my kid. And a good parent doesn't just quit on their kid. I mean, I wasn't there enough already. I mean, I never actually quit on her. I always wondered. I always worried. Even if people thought I didn't. But even if she thinks I didn't, I always cared. Before I ended up seeing her and when she had become a teenager, her and I were playing in Palermo Park in California. These are all memories that, where I sit now, I'm haunted by. Because I know chances are I probably won't ever see my daughter again. Someone who means so much to me. She's probably long gone. I'll never see her again. To some, that might not matter, but to me, it does. So, this has gone on long enough. I'm going to end this one here, and everyone, have a wonderful day. And be you, because you can't be anyone else.